Hi, today I'm going to talk to you about the preterite versus the imperfect, which is one of the more difficult concepts in Spanish. This will be probably a lengthy video. I will not be editing it for lack of time, so I apologize. Maybe you want to put me on 2.0 speed or something faster so you can skip my ums and uhs, or pause and fast forward. Okay, so to start with, I just want to show you a couple of resources. I'm going to start out giving you resources, and then if you want to listen to me explain a couple of things afterwards, you can do that. So right up front, I really love going to Google and typing in the topic that I'm searching for. So pretty much everything's available on Google, right? This is the biggest brain. So I just type in preterite versus imperfect Spanish, and if I click on images, I can come up with a whole bunch of charts, which this is more visually pleasing to me than reading a paragraph with explanations in between. What I mean, for example, is like this, where I have to read through and it's good. Oh, there's one description and condition, habitual actions, and then so that is much more complicated to me than just this. I like this one in particular. I don't know who it is by, so I apologize. I can't reference the author. But this is an acronym, and SIMBA, and then cheated. So on the left side we have the preterite, and on the right side we have indicators of the imperfect tense. So both of these are in the past tense, and they are used differently. And we do this in English as well, but the verb does not change in the past, whether we're using imperfect or preterite in English. So if I say, I ate yesterday, I ate a lot when I was a child, ate is the same whether it's preterite or imperfect. But I have used it in both of those verb tenses without you even knowing. So we don't really pay attention to this in English. We don't think, oh, I'm speaking in the imperfect and now I'm speaking in the preterite. But when we're learning Spanish, we have to do that because we weren't born with speaking Spanish, and it is a different concept to us. So we start with memorizing when and what circumstances do I have to use preterite, and when do I have to use imperfect to show that something was in the past. As you can see here, I like acronyms. These are easier to memorize for me. I like a big chart like this where it's just very dumbed down and simplified. So on the left side, we have SIMBA, single action, interruption. It interrupted something else, meaning a main event and a story or something that was the main idea. Beginning action, it began raining. It began, past tense. Arrivals, departures. He left for the airport. Things that happen one time, single action again, would be arrivals, departures, beginning action, end of an action. Okay, and then on the right side we have the imperfect, and we have cheated. Characteristics, description. He was a handsome man. Health, she was ill. Emotion and so on. Age, she was 12. Time, it was 2:00 in the afternoon. Endless activities. Every summer I swam at my grandma's pool. Okay, and a date. So this is kind of a summary that we can refer back to when we are in that place where I'm like, I have to use the past tense. Which one do I use? Is it a SIMBA or is it a cheated? So that's just one way that one resource that we can use. Again, that's just going to Google. The other one that this is just a really great website, studyspanish.com. You don't have to pay for this account, but do make an account so you can see your quiz answers. After you submit a quiz, it'll show you what you got wrong. If you don't have an account, I don't believe it lets you do that. But if you look under Unit 6, so I'm going to studyspanish.com, I'm clicking grammar. There are lots of resources right here for you, but these are particularly grammar, and the verb drills are excellent. So the grammar, I would go down to Unit 5, I think it was. I'm sorry, Unit 6, and you can see where it says preterite versus imperfect, 1, and number 67 is 2, and so on. Number 73 is 3, and in between those you have preterite and imperfect, because they're going to also teach you about the conjugations and the uses and the common words that identify those if it's preterite or imperfect. It's going to be identifiers like yesterday, one time. Those are all preterite. I used to do something every summer or all the time is going to be an imperfect. So those other topics there will teach you those concepts incorporated into when do I use preterite and imperfect. So on this one, we can go here. It teaches you the lesson in another form rather than seeing it in a chart. I like that. It's showing you the conjugations of both. It's giving us some examples. This is great. Okay, so a nice explanation here. I love this. Verb flashcards. Who doesn't need more help with verb flashcards, really? We can all use a refresher. Another really great website, and I didn't have it pulled up, was Quizlet.com. If you need help with vocab in any class, I mean, it can be chemistry or history or whatever class it is, Spanish class, English class, you need vocabulary, Quizlet.com is your way to go. That is also free. I would look for a teacher flashcard set or make your own. Okay, so back to our Preterite versus Imperfect. After I have read the lesson, you can see over here, so I just clicked on 62, open this up, it gives me the written lesson below, and then the links to quizzes and tests are to the left, well, right here. So I have my basic quiz, I have a mini test that I can make, and so on. Sometimes you can customize these to include the vosotros and not to include the vosotros, like for the verb drill, so take a look at that. Also, how many questions do you want in your quiz? So it's very customizable, if that's a word. So here it starts out real easy. Conjugate the verbs as directed. Here we're just conjugating into yo, and it's not loading. Okay, so which one would be yo hable, and so on. So we go through and we submit at the end, and it will submit my answers, and it'll show you what you got wrong and what you got correct if you have logged in with a free account. We can do a mini test and so on, excuse me. Let's go to the other one. So it's going to progressively get more and more challenging, right? It's going to start you off easy, and then it's going to ask you to start upping the game rate. So Preterite versus Imperfect 2, same type of thing. Let's see if it'll load. All right. This one, for example, is, I love these ads, Preterite versus Imperfect Part 2. The written lesson is below. Again, it's all written out. They're giving you some really great words and specific phrases, indicate specific time frames, signaling the preterite. This is a great list. You could go create your own list on Quizlet.com using this and quiz yourself with lots of free little games on there. Other words that indicate repetitive or vague, non-specific time frames signal the imperfect, and then there's a really great list. And they're going to give you lists that are commonly taught in elementary 1 and elementary 2 Spanish classes. Okay, these aren't going to be like out there like slang terms that people are using in the actual country. So these are going to be commonly used phrases. Verb flashcards, again, always can go back and study those verbs. So that's just another resource that I think is really great that I would recommend that you take advantage of. And my video is actually a little bit already long, so I'm going to go ahead and stop there and let you use that resource. And if you want more in-depth to dive deeper with me, I will create another video going into specifics of how we use each one and using examples, and you can quiz yourself while we go through that tutorial. Thanks for watching.